So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Aries seminar. I think the number of people are less because of Ursi. I think you are also coming to that conference and then here. So today's speaker, we have Dr. Dipen Sahu. Currently, he is a Ramanujan Fellow at Physical Research Laboratory in Ahmedabad. So he did his PhD from University of Calcutta. And after that, he moved to a few postdoc positions to PRL and then IIA. And then after that, to Academia Sinica in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So his research work is in the area of millimeter and submillimeter astronomy, in particular the planet formation, physical and chemical properties of star forming regions.
Yes, right.
And he also works in astrochemistry, something like that. So today's talk, he will talk about from molecular core to star and planet formation and our astrochemical origin. So we can start. So 45 minutes and then there will be questions.
Okay. Thank you very much for this kind introduction. And first of all, I want to thank Jogeshji because we met in PRL some conference and I requested this visit. So with a short notice, he made this possible. So thank you for that. So I wanted to grab this opportunity while visit RC to visiting ARADs and present this talk. So yeah, so I think I don't need to go far with. So basically, what I want to talk here is basically broad overview of my research work, mostly. So if I try to summarize this thing, then it's something like this: from molecular core to star and planet formations, and our astrochemical origin. So basically, it's have two part. One is like you can see like core to planet formations. That is completely problem of astrophysics, and there is second part like astrochemical origin. So when people say about chemistry, they got frightened. Okay, the chemistry is a completely different thing, but we are nothing but the chemical compositions. If you think the how life is there, so it's chemical composition. So and this have a close connection with this core to planet formation. So that we are going to do. And because this diverse nature of this work, so we have to use the telescopes in different wavelength and wave regimes. So and also have different kind of modeling from synthetic radiative transfer and synthetic imaging and line spectra and different telescope as well. Okay, and also we are lucky that India is a part of TMT NESCA and I have some synergy with that too, and we will discuss this in course. So I think Professor already mentioned about me. So I before this like I was in PRL for a couple of years and then couple of months in IIA and TIFR, then moved to Academia Sinica Institute of Astrophysics, which is the official partner of ALMA, and they have many other facilities as well. So I stayed there roughly 3 years, and then 2022 August onwards, I am in PRL as a Ramanujan Fellow, and I collaborated after like end of my PhD period and then postdoctoral period with many institute to name a few like ASIA, Kasi in Korea, NAOJ in Japan, and Bordeaux University in France, and then Groningen in Netherlands. And mainly facilities, my favorite facility is ALMA, and obviously use other facilities, but mostly use ALMA. Okay, so I just want to show this curve on my left side. So it is taken from the ADS, so based on my papers. So it is showing the nature of interdisciplinary research I do, because if you see in the green portion, it is showing some socks, stretching, and all these things. This is related to the experimental part. So that I am collaborating with few people. So there and also have observation part, survey, and then Codinos that is related to the some molecular line detections, and also astrophysics and different kind of processes that I directly do modeling, that in the red part. So it's a completely diverse part. So uh, we need all these things to interpret our chemical origin and astrophysical processes as well. So then what is the broad question I'm trying to solve? As I told, this is a very broad. So if I define this problem, this comes to two questions. One is like how solar type of stars and planet form. And then because the planet is a byproduct of the star formations from the low mass core, then and we are one of the living in one of the planets, Earth. So how our origin is related to this like star and planet formation. So this comes to the questions related to astrochemical origin. Okay. So one of the important problem, like how water came to Earth, that is not very well understood, but that related to this star and planet formation problem. So let us start from looking the broad picture. Where do we look in the sky? So it is we look in the our galaxy. Okay, so because I guess there are many peoples maybe in the working in also different galaxies and also many other clouds in the galaxy. So I just wanted to show these pictures. So where we work, so we work in the neighborhood of the solar systems, and there are thousands of stars forming, and also there are hundreds of molecular clouds are there. Okay, so these molecular clouds, as the name suggests, is consist of molecules. So basically they are in the cold dark region. Okay, and if you see this pictures actually taken from PP7, the overview of this large scale star formations in the molecular clouds in the solar neighborhood, you see there are continuously stars is forming. Okay, so why I'm showing this? Because to know this, like if somebody is born, like we are born, how we know how we born? Okay, then we have to look who is giving birth, right? Then you have to like we have to go to the embryo stage, and then different kind of stage we can see. Okay, looking by others when they are taking birth. So if we look in the molecular cloud, the different stages we can find. That's why you need to survey and find different stages of this star formations to get this evolutionary picture. Okay, so roughly in the astronomical sense, we define them in a few classes. So firstly, we call starless and or the p-stellar core, and then there is class 0. So when there is a gravitational collapse is there, the star is already forming, but there's a baby star. We call it a young star or protostar. They are same in the meaning. And then there is a class 0 or 1, and further class 2. Class 2 is something we call protoplanetary disk, because it is believed to be the birthplace of planets. Here Alma have detected rings and gaps that I will come to later. And then end stage like a full phases sun earth type of system. Okay, so you can see the ACDs in the site. So this, if we like, if you have used multi-band observations, then from the ACDs you can actually trace their structures, even the outflow structures and many other properties, these properties. So this ACD is actually proxy of the core evolution. So that here is another need why we need to multi-wavelength observations to understand the evolutions. Okay. From ACD we can get like as much as informations about the like luminosities, core properties, disk property. If you do proper calculation additive transfer, you can even get the outflow angle, disk size, disk flare, so like flaring angle, everything you can get. But yeah, so you have to do that. That is a particularly one have to do it, but that is not I am fully right doing now, but partly I have done some of this. Okay, so so that's one said this. So now coming some more emphasis on the molecular cloud, how it looks. So if you check in the region of the star formations, they are quite bright, but there are in between there are region where like there are region like ionized region, and then it become atomic region, and then become molecular. So I showed the beautiful picture here. You can see the transition region of atomic to molecular cloud that is detected using multiple telescope like JWST and ALMA. Sorry, not JWST, some other telescope which in the optical they have detected this, and also ALMA observation is there, which shows the presence of atomic and molecular cloud. So you see the transition region. So if we try to summarize how these things happen, so basically that this blue picture you can see. So firstly there will be ionized gas, so very close to the star forming region. Okay, so density also very less. So then hydrogen become like ionized from H plus. Okay, so you properly known as like H2 regions, then H1 region, something like this, and then H plus like H ion get recombined and form atomic hydrogen, and then there if you go inside further away from the main star forming region, then it will be molecular cloud densities become higher. So there is one puzzle like how it become molecular, because hydrogen is first come like form a hydrogen atom. Okay, then two atom cannot recombine to form H2. It is not energetically possible. So what you need a dust or grain we call. Sometimes astrochemists call it grain, and in astronomers try to call it dust, but both are the same. So they are coming on the dust surface and then recombine and then form H2 and thermally dissolve to the gas phase. And this is the major origin of the molecular cloud. So and then as you go more dense region, then it have more defined kind of chemistry, like C convert to CO and other molecules become forming. And one of the important molecule we need to focus here is the water also forming in this dense region. And I will not go in other details where many other complex molecules come, that I will show in my later slide. Okay, so related to this, I just want to emphasize this, like as I said, like water form also in this region. So if you trail, if you know the origin of the water, or you can get the trail of the waters, as NASA's many proposals also saying, like finding the trail of water and organics, you can get to know about our origin. So here water starts, and then how came to come water in the earth, that all have link. So if we find this, then that is a good answer to know our heritage. And towards this understanding, deuterium fractionation is a very important word, like D by H ratio. So you know hydrogen, and then another form of hydrogen, like which is found in heavy water, you call it's a deuterium. So D by H ratio is a proxy of ages, because deuterium fractionation happens mainly in the cold region. So D by H ratio is a good tracer also of the evolution of this core stages. So I did in my PhD period some modeling on this, how molecules or atoms randomly come and form hydrogen and deuterated molecules. That is a completely Monte Carlo simulation. And later I find more applications of observations. Okay, so then in terms of astronomers view, the density goes like, if we start from the end of the molecular cloud, then the density slowly increases, higher hydrogen number density, and EV flux also decreases, because EV flux destroy the molecular existence. The more intense they are, it will be destroyed. Okay, so but there will be always some amount of flux present, that will also helpful for other gas phase reactions. And then also the AV also decreases, and we need to consider this kind of when we do more calculations. No, because this is not circular, I'm just saying it's a number density wise, because this is a more of a classification of molecular cloud, because like say in the atomic region, it may be less than one number hydrogen number density. Okay, yeah, and also in the molecular cloud, it 10^4 hydrogen number density, that way. Yeah, that is for if I do for particular core, that you are right. For pistular core, we assume like this, like the R square profile, and then there is a flat region. No, it's not. I'm saying very large scale. So roughly giving an idea, like a transition region of like say atomic to molecular cloud, and how these things goes roughly. Like if you have very dense dark region, infrared cannot see. So that's why I'm repeatedly saying this is dense molecular cloud, where you only need to rely on the millimeter and submillimeter observations. 10^4 hydrogen number density per centimeter cubed. That is the dense molecular. So I will show another slide later that will give this number more detail. So yeah, so coming to the another point of when I'm telling about simple molecules, there are other molecules which are complex in nature, but that's astronomer definitions. More than 6 atomic molecules known as complex. So interstellar medium, methanol is detected, and other molecules also complex organic molecules detected. So this is another aspect, like around like till date is this number is is not updated. Around 350 molecules is detected in the interstellar medium, and how these two picture connected and linked, that also need to be known. Okay, and one example I just quickly go through, like everybody know the life is a first form we need is a protein, and simplest amino acid is the constituent of protein, and simplest protein is glycine, and glycine is not detected in interstellar medium but in the meteorites. So they must have formed there, we are not detecting. Okay, so you find in the meteorites, so there may have some connection with life. So just here the importance of astrobiology and other things comes to play, but I am directly not in the astrobiology, but rather I in the signature of this complex molecules in the space, which we can detect using millimeter submillimeter astronomy. Okay, seeing being said this all introduction, so coming to particular objective here. So this is showing you more uh, a artistic image of the core evolution. Now considered a single unit, which is core. So this core evolved to this kind of envelope, outflow, and the disk structure that is like class 0, class 1 that I showed earlier, and then protoplanetary disk. And you saw the rings. So that rings are discovered by Alma. So that's picture also the origin inspired by this. And then end stage is like this thing. So the target in term of my research is like to unveiling stellar, but because we do not know how stars form inside the core. People know that the formation happens from the starless core, but when and how inside the stellar core, that part is not known. So that is that we want to do. And the chemical clock, as I said, like D by H ratio is a good tracer of our like chemical age. So that kind of chemical clock and connection with the core evolution we want to do. And the complexity, chemical complexity that I mentioned, and some of the molecules also seeds of life like glycine. Yeah, sorry. So and then the chemical journey, as I said, like water you can see in the early stages, and then other molecules also. They journey and come to the disk and certainly to the planet. So how they have this journey possible and how much it retained and how much is mixed, all these things, and also chemistry of planet formation that I will discuss more in later. Coming to the next slide. So chemistry of what is the chemistry of planet formations? That I'll describe this in couple of slides later. But before going to that, let's show me the current state of the this kind of research, basically focusing on the star formation and evolution of Lomas core. So um you can see always for current state in the protostar planet reviews. So recent reviews in 2022. So it gives a decadal review. So large scale structures, filaments, and all these things constitute around 20% of work. And this disk scale, if you see, most of the work is considered on the disk scale, around 40 to 50%, and few percentage in multiple aspect like geochemistry, astrochemistry, and all these things. So all this consider more than 50 to 60%. So most of the research now focused on the protoplanetary disk, understanding the structure in the lomas, star formations, and new subjects like astrochemistry and all these things. So this is a new trend after discovery by Alma. This is HL tau. You can see the clear links. So after 2015, I guess this is a huge interest to understanding planet formation in the disk. So while I was talking about this ice lines, so this is directly showing an artistic image of ice lines. So you can see this is a kind of ice. So you are lucky you all see in the Himalayas to have the ice, but it is helpful that our origin also has this some ice connections, because that line you see the ring, there is no white is there. That's the end of the, because that is hotter region. Ice cannot be there. So these lines we call water ice lines. So similarly, there can be different ice lines of different molecular lines, and planet is forming here. So where they're forming, they're accreting that material. So that will change their composition. Yeah, this is an artistic image. This is not detection image. Yeah. So to show the water ice line only. So if you want to see about what about other ice lines, so here like H2 ice lines is here, like say around 5 AU distance like from sun, and then there will be ammonia ice line, then CO2 ice line, CH3 ice line. So it's like this. So that means like if you consider CH4 ice lines, so beyond this CH4 will be in the ice phase, and inside this it will be in the gas phase. So it will affect how planet get their initial composition. That's why if you see in the solar system, all the planet have different chemical composition, okay, and different C by OH ratio. So that all linked to the astrophysics of star formations. So one quick example what Alma did regarding this. So apart from this structures is from the disk of the dust continuum, because when planet moves and then they have this curve like the gap created, but the gas also we can have the signature of these ice lines. Okay, so you can see beautiful rings of N to H plus. Okay, and also this is the indirect signature of water ice line you can see on my left side. And also what is the significance of planet formation in this region, you can clearly see a figure from here. Like the blue coated on is like ice coated grains, so that is the region of Jovian planet formations. and near is a terrestrial planet formation region this side. Okay, this is a no, this is a protoplanetary disk. It's not cloud stage. So this is like you can think like sun system how it is born. So it is not fully grown up planets, but this is grain size like say meter centimeter. Very not like grains. Like say right now we are seeing micrometer dust is there that become grown to millimeter centimeter, and that if it is become kilometer or meter scale that being planetesimals. So that stages. So till now nobody knows how this actually combined to give the birth of planets. It's a very puzzling till now. Yeah, observational signature. We have found grain growth, but the distribution, I think nobody found yet. So there are people are continuously trying, but definitely signature is there that the grain growth is present. Okay, but because you see, I saw you the last picture, the HL tau, the master planet created. That's why created these gaps. Okay, so already become very big, like kilometer size. But when the millimeter size happens, centimeter size happen, that region is not very clear. But they should appear in the earlier stages. Okay, so now coming to the disk research, because this is the modern state of art. Like people are going to working on more on this. So different physical processes you can see in the that side of the disk, my right side of the disk. Okay, so different what kind of phenomena are happening there, like turbulence, drag. Okay, and many other phenomena is happening. But and what we can do from the telescopic perspective, like Alma can see that as I already saw the N2H plus images. So Alma can detect that region, like the cold region where gas emission is coming, but it cannot see inside where it is very cold and ice is there. So that we need, and also very hot region near the start. So that region you can use near IR, mid IR observation, and JWST, TMT in future can help in this great detail. And yes, multi-star system applied, but they have separate disk, right? And no, all star actually form in the I will another problem also, because the star do not form singly. They may be mostly form in the multiplet. Yeah, so uh, so they have separate disks for themselves, because this is a process of collapse and all this. They have disks like themselves. But I'm showing this is assuming a disk and a star and disk system. Okay, so now as I already mentioned about the submillimeter, so I am skipping this. So, but to remind you that our GMRT is here, because it meter wavelength, but meter wavelength we cannot detect because we are detecting dust emission, thermal emission, that is in the micrometer sizes. So meter wavelength is not good for that. So and cold region is already traced by millimeter emission, and there are some occasion we can use the GMRT. So I'll show in my end slide about this, and a quick review, because many students are there from working in different wavelengths. So you see the orange region in the optical, okay, and there are darker portion you cannot see in the optical because they are opaque in the optical. But if you use infrared, you can see more opaque region. So that in the middle you can see. But then what is the purpose of this millimeter? There are many other molecular cloud that I showed in my first slide that you can detect using this. So, but not directly. You can use a tracer like CO. CO is a tracer of H2. Okay, then here is a CO map. So basically where the other molecular clouds hidden which cannot trace by infrared, you can detect this. Okay, so so being said this, so now coming to the observational details, what kind of methods we use. So I think to make you fully realize this thing, there are two kind of observations we generally do. One is called continuum and one is called spectral line observation. So continuum means it is coming from the dust. Okay, and then there is spectral line which is sitting on the dust. Okay, so when we do analysis, we consider all these two aspects. So for example, I am showing you that figure, that is dust continuum. But when I remove the dust continuum, and this is the emission only from methanol. So okay, so it is one of the alcohol. Okay, it's coming from one of the core, but not both the core. So that way we use continuum and molecules together to understand uh, both the formation pathways of the molecule as well as astrophysical properties. So method I use already I mentioned, and then currently apart from this I am trying thermochemical modeling, which is helpful for study disk structure and thermal cooling and heating also in the considering molecular transitions. Okay, so a more detailed perspective from the kinematics, because I already said very broadly, but what it help in from the perspective of the kinematics, like say this is a low mass photostars, it is forming, and when it is forming, there are envelope, outflow, and this disk and the envelope interface. All these things we can trace using different molecular tracers. Okay, so and then it can reveal many secrets which cannot be done by any other kind of facilities, and for that thing we need high resolutions as well as high sensitivity, and ALMA can do this and had done quite well. An example of this which I worked on is like HS212 source, which is located around 1,000 light years away from us, more than 1,000 light year away from us. So here this is the first paper when I started working on the ALMA from India only, and that time, and then I found HDCO for the first time towards a source HH212, and you can see that the blue and the red arrows actually showing the direction of the jet. Okay, it's outflow jet, and then outflow is traced by except TS emission, which is done by others. And I have shown that HDCO also tracing similar region, and also help to know the how outflow happens around these sources, and also how HDCO form. So that also both chemistry and the physics we explained this, and luckily this was made news in the physics.org in 2018. Okay, so I think I covered most of the aspect what we can do, and what is the current trend, and what is the importance of this kind of research. And now I will focus two of my research in trends of this evolution, because I started like my research evolution is like a cloud because I started with the grain, and then molecular core, and then pistellar core, and then this protostars, and now I am working on the protoplanetary disk. So as the cloud evolve, I am evolving like that only. So so that's why I will show the two stages. So one is the pistellar core, as I showed, I will show in my letter what is known that start from the pistellar core, but when and how, that is not answered. So that kind of answer we have got, that I will show. And then protostar and hot core, in the class 1 and class 0 and class 1 stages. So what is hot core? So hot core is a kind of sources where you see the signature of complex organic molecules. So that I will discuss in detail, and then other Indian aspects and mega projects. So as coming to the point of Sad was telling like what kind of density and this happens in the molecular cloud. Just a recap. So you can see the temperature and density from this thing. So there are in the interstellar medium or in the galactic medium, there can be different kind of cloud, coronal gas, where like fraction, like hydrogen abundance in the terms of fractions. Okay. So I was showing you the transition of H2 to H1 and then molecular cloud region. So you think the how low dense that region was. But our interest in the molecular cloud, where the density is 10^4 and temperature is like of the order of 10 or 20, and then hot core where like temperature is like 100 or 200, something like this. So sometimes people confuse it like how in the star you detecting complex organic molecules. So star we cannot detect. In the envelope we are detecting. So that temperature is here. The star is like thousands of temperature. There is no molecule surviving. Okay. So that's why just this picture I wanted to show. Now coming to the structure, the molecular cloud. So for where this code is appearing. So the big picture, if you consider the molecular cloud, they have clumps. If you consider very big structure, so that can be of the order of 10 PC and more. If you consider the Orion, that can be in hundreds of parsec. But a unit you can consider like 10 parsec, and then there are clumps and the cores, and within the core can be in different evolutionary stages. So if we consider a starting point, that is a core in gravitationally collapsing, that signature I am showing, if it is gravitationally collapsing and bound, then we call it p-stellar core. But otherwise, a starless core and p-stellar are same meaning, but p-stellar cores is likely to form a star, but all starless core may not form stars. So what is not known? So from a starless core or p-stellar core, star form, that is known. And then it collapses, the central mass increases, more matter actives in the central, I tried to show in the cartoon figure. The scale also you currently note, kindly note, like it's 10,000 scale in the sorry, in the core, but in the central portion it's like hundreds of AU scale. Then we know the class 0, class 1 kind of protostar. But what happened in between, when how actually star born inside? Because this scale is like 100 or like 40 AU or something like this. Okay, but how it is appearing from this compact region, that is not known. So that for that thing we are trying to understand. And why we are trying to understand this? Because as as we know that the star do not form in a single system, mostly it's mostly in the multiple system. So when people in the observations try to measure the multiplicity, they say multiplicity highest in the class 0 and decreases with the evolution, the class 0, class 1 and class 2. So if it is highest in the class 0, the before class 0 there is a starless core. So this signature of this class 0 we should see in the starless phase. So what that means? This means, like say from a stellar core there is 3 star formed, okay, that right side. So what we expect to see before this stage is that no star is formed, but there are substructure inside a dense structure. So dense structure is circular. Within this there are substructures. So that kind of substructure we want to see. Okay, this is a theoretical prediction is there and observational prediction also there. But till now there was no detection. So always then people try to say what is the mechanism of fragmentation. So as I showed you earlier how the cloud is structured, so directly you can compare the structure with this kind of observations where you can see the larger scale filaments in the single disk observation. Okay, the contours in the white, and in between there are stars embedded, the stars core, okay, that embedded. So basically they have the clumps fragmented and produce this kind of thing. But this is called hierarchical fragmentation. We are not talking about this fragmentation. This is very common because a clumps will fragment and form core. But we are talking about fragmentation inside stellar core. So this is not what we are talking about. We are talking fragmentation inside stellar core. So, but we need interferometric observation to detect this, because this is the scale of like thousands of AU scale. But the problem is that when you do interferometric observation in stellar core, their emission get resolved out. Okay, means you cannot detect anything unless they are very concentrated. And this and the showing I am showing a figure. I'm not explaining details. Basically, you need a very peak central density like 10 to the power 7 or higher, and also the compactness also need to be very high. Okay, so you see in the panel different R, so that means the compactness radius. So unless it is very compact, you cannot detect unless it is very evolved. Okay, and you cannot detect very small region in the interferometry. It is very difficult to detect. Okay, so one example, like an effort tried by other groups from Max Planck. So this is well-known core L1544, and they have detected this central compact portion. This scale in the left side that you can see, it's like 2000 AU scale, the compact portion, and we try to find the substructure inside it in the higher resolution of ALMA, that right side image. But they don't find any substructure there. This image is a imaging artifact, not real artifact, not real structure, because the whole mass is less than a few like 0.00 something solar mass, the individual thing. So this is not really a substructure, and this is an imaging artifact. The author mentioned it. Okay, so in summary, it is very hard to find substructure inside stellar core 1000 AU scale. So what we did actually, so we also did try to find this kind of substructure in the stellar core. So as I said, we do not know where it is going to show the substructure. So we surveyed 72 cores in Orion in different configuration of ALMA. So ALMA have 66 antennas. Okay, so one configuration is called ACA, means you cannot move this Atacama compact array, the 7-meter array. So that's the yellow one, and then there is 12-meter that you can move and get different resolution. So we have used different configuration to get a resolution in the range of 0.35 arc second to 5.5 arc second. Okay, so just to show the example, like here the largest scale you can see in the single disk, but you cannot see inside because single resolution at the distance of Orion, it like 14 arc seconds. So at the distance of Orion, it become 5000 AU. So we cannot see 1000 AU scale. Okay, so but the problem interferometer, it will resolve out. Okay, so if like outer portion will resolve out, right? If you go higher resolution, outer portion will be resolved out. So unless it is very centrally concentrated, you cannot detect. So coming to our result, so among the cores, we detected like 29 scored starless core were there, but all samples were 72. But we found that 20 starless candidates are there, and 5 among them are very dense. So you can see the outer contour from single disk, and inside it is like ACA 5.5 arc-second resolutions. Okay, and we further tried to see what inside it. So that compact structure we detected. So you can recall the cartoon diagram I showed, the compact structure of 1000 AU scale that you have detected in the color. So that is 1.2 arc-second resolution, and the outer contour is from ACA, that is 5.5 arc-second resolution. So we are detecting compact structure. Now we want to find substructure. So all these 4 core we have not find any substructure, but as I mentioned 5 core, there is 1 core that I am going to discuss next slide. This is here where we have found the substructure. So just to show, this is that panel showing you the single disk image, and then the ACA, and then we further zoom in and use different technique. At the last panel, I am showing you 0.8 arc-second resolution. So 0.8 means around 300 AU resolution, where we see real substructure appearing, and their mass is enough, good enough to have forming like embryos. So basically, we are catching a moment of egg hatch, like, okay, so just a born of stars from protostars. So we are catching a moment like this. Okay, so we have calculated in detail, so I'm not going in all these details, but what the summary is that they will not coalesce to a single body, and individually they have enough potential to form protostars. Their mass we have calculated, and also they are gravitationally bound. So this is the first discovery of stellar multiplet inside the signature of stellar embryos inside the stellar core, and people was trying to do from decades, and we are lucky to successful this, and subsequently it make world news from different observatories. Okay, being said this, so what is the role of chemistry here? Because we also use different molecular lines to trace this compactness and different properties of the density. So I'm just quickly saying one of slide like this, where N2D plus is closely tracing the core. Okay, you see the contours from the continuum, and it is closely traced by the N2D plus emission. Okay, so what is the significance? I cannot describe all these things together, but what we are trying to do, understand the role of gravitational turbulence and magnetic field in producing this kind of substructures. So I have some PI proposal in SMA and ALMA. We are working on that, and also recently also worked in a paper that will show the different evolutionary stages of starless core. And also I found that N2D plus is a good tracer of core evolution. Okay, so so one stage I finished. So now come to the uh, stage like class 0, class 1. So what kind of research we have done here? So before going to that, I need to give a more background of the how chemistry or molecules form here. Okay, so there are grains, as I told, micrometer size grains. So grains can be bare, okay, but and they also can be ice coated because it is very low dense, low temperature region. So any molecules comes in the grain, they always will be ice. So you can think the molecules forming in the ice, they are different kind of interaction with the gas and grain, and different molecules are forming, and they can thermally dissolve to the gas phase like this. Okay, and their signature we can detect via ALMA, via the spectral transitions. So you can think how we reach the ALMA spectra. I was talking to sir, like this showing how much this can be dense. Okay, the spectra you see, like so much dense forest of molecular lines. So detection of line is very difficult. There's so much packed with lines. So such number of molecules are there. So towards a source. So this kind of source we call hot core, because so many complex organic molecules are there. We have identified a few, but we could not identify all of them. So what is the mechanism here? Because when it is collapsing, okay, the temperature increases, so the radicals get more mobility and forms more complex molecules. At the end, when in the hot stages, it become temperature become hundreds of K. It come to the gas phase, and then we see the gas phase molecules via ALMA. So this kind of source, particularly associated with low mass star formations, we call them hot core. Okay, so this is the one of the hot core. It's known. It was discovered first, and before 2019, it was around 12 core was known to show the hot core. But all the star formation happening in the similar processes. If the mass was similar, so why we see signature of complex organic molecules towards only a few sources, but not there are not hundreds, even lakhs of cores are low mass low mass cores people are studying, but only 12 or 20 core was known before 2020. So what could be the reason? So some people said that it is very important that chemical diversity is there. Okay, because this source, you saw that the brighter source, there was no molecules were detected, but complex organic molecules are detected from that source. So we explained this scenario and discovered a nice phenomena for the first time. What is that? Because you can see that spectra from this source coming in the kind of absorptions. Okay, so there is not many lines, but there are few strong lines we can see in the absorption. So that absorption, when we try to map, they are coming from that source only, that continuum source for A2. So yeah. Uh-huh. Line transitions name. Yeah, that I not wrote it fully. They're in the mention in the paper, but there are many transitions. So we have identified at least 3, 4 transitions. Then we have identified like this, that there are many identified that I would not identify. Now all of the molecules which are present in this corresponding to methanol we have identified, because they have to match, because that are coming from the ready transfer. We are modeling this and then finding these molecules, and from the transition number we are taking it from databases like where the Einstein coefficient, all these things are mentioned. So you can see the absorption is coming from directly from the core. So what could be the reason? Because the core is hot. Okay, so it should not be absorption. If it is hot, then it will always see in the emission, not in the absorption. If there is a cold medium, then only absorption comes. So this is very puzzle, and we explain this puzzle. So I am just giving you a brief idea to explain this puzzle. Like say you have a colored ball inside a glass, transparent glass. Okay, so you can see it. So something like that molecular scenario. But if you pour a ink, uh, the visibility is less, and if you pour more ink, you cannot see it. Okay, so that is happening here. Okay, so basically it is happening to dust continuum. Dust continuum actually hiding these molecules, and we discovered this and proposed a phenomena like this, where there is a big surface, okay, where there can be temperature gradient, and my beam is like that, which is averaging up this thing, and the absorption is coming from the atmosphere. The temperature may be less than the disk center, but the temperature is higher than 100K. Okay, when it's averaging up, it is coming at like 40, 50K, but absorption is coming from that atmosphere. That kind of scenario may explain this scene. So this is the like a very good phenomenon in the astrochemistry community, because we are the first to discover this scenario, because the European group falsely said that this is a chemical diversity, and after that they have accepted, because they have done observations in VLA, which is centimeter wavelength, where you can not have this problem of optically thickness. They have detected molecules. So our model is identified, and it is a very important result. And I no, not clumpy. Means like say there are molecules are already floating. Okay, so I'm saying the molecule is, as I showed the mechanism, molecules comes, you see this, but when absorption happens, if there is a cold medium in front of it, so but there is no cold medium because this source is hot. So how should we describe this absorption? That's why I propose like if that this temperature gradient is there here, so this region can be like say 200K. This can be 100K. So if 10K is less than 200K, then it can arise in the absorption. Yeah. So that may be help. So that's why I'm saying the hot coordinate is hidden by optical thickness. So when they try in the VLA centimeter wavelength, they have detected molecular signature in the emission, because molecules is not seeing because optical thickness, not that the molecule is not present. But people have misidentified this. So this is a phenomena why we don't see in every sources. Yeah, so subsequently we done many surveys, and we have detected another dozen of code with hot Corino, but I'm not showing the result like ACDP plus you are asking now. So that we have analyzed in detail and showed that basically thermal resorption is responsible for this kind of hot Corino. Yeah, yeah. No, like if you do simple, if you assume simple temperature density, constant temperature density, then you can use those and directly get the spectra. But if you have like diverse conditions, then each point you have to take different conditions. And if you do want to do production of this molecule, like you need a map of this, you need a great detail. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I think I have discussed two typical works, but there are many other works involving this different kind of kinematics and all these things. But now I'm going to summarize all this because coming to my future plans, because I already told the Pistellar mysteries, and I now want to work on the nurturing the planetary seeds. Planetary seeds means, here I showed you that there is signature planet formation is there, but the grain growth should happening here. So that I want to study from things. So I have got some signature, but I still could not prove it. So there are a lot of modeling necessary. And then ice composition. So as I told, JWST is needed. So we are also working on this. There are collaborators who do laboratory ice spectra like Balamurugan Sivaraman. So he do this ice spectra. So in future, if possible, we can detect some new species. Recently, they have reported ozone detection in some planetary environment. So, and this chemistry symphony means I want to do the ice line that I was talking, and that one of recently I got a result that is work in progress. And among the Indian aspect, there is low frequency symphony means this is a GMRT I want to mention, and one of my proposal recently got accepted, and we are working to detect molecules in the GMRT band, but looking for some physical properties, not only detection but the good physical properties which can complement the our millimeter observation. And then when TMT and SCA come, we have few more scopes as well. So here I'm just showing the GMRT observations we proposed. So to the same source, we proposed to detect acetaldehyde, and we got a time and the data analysis we are doing. So if detect, then we can detect some role of other astrophysical processes that happening, like ionization is happening or not in that region, and also how successful the molecules we can detect in this low frequency. Then it will be helpful because larger molecules should show in this regime. So if it is in a high sensitivity spectral resolution observations in the SCA, we can detect prebiotic molecules in the SCA. So that's why it will show us result for future prospects. Yeah, so this is the SCA thing that I was mentioning. It also modeled a molecules glycoaldehyde and which is done by other. I done for methyl carbamate, which actually I tentatively detected, and I propose that this can be detected in the SCA when it's come to the full page around this 40 gigahertz. Okay, so and that's why we are trying to do these things in the GMRT as well. And also I am a STT member of TMT, where, as I said, I proposed a role of this astrochemistry in understanding the planet formation and exoplanet. So I am contributing in these sections like this structure of planets, the growth of planets, snow lines and beyond, formation and evolution of prebiotic molecules. So this kind of sections I'm interested. And I don't know TMT's future, but if it is come, then we can do purely. And some JWST we are also looking, but it will take some time. Yeah. So with those, I come to end, and I want to acknowledge all my collaborators and the facilities and my institution where I got my educations. And these are the countries where I traveled or have collaboration directly or indirectly. So because of this collaboration, this kind of work is possible, because sometimes we need datas which are and also many kind of modeling as well as the access to data. That's why, and also when we write the proposals, we need to come as a team. Otherwise, proposal is not possible. So that's why these large collaborations, and I thank all of them. And to name a few, I name Singwan Liu and various other people also there, Neil J. Vance, Doc Johnston, Naomi Hirano, Lee, and in India, Balasubaraman, Ankon Das, Nirupam Roy, and many other peoples, to name a few. So, so I think this come to my end, and I think it is a big talk. So if you get bored, so I just want to remind you the motive is still. So how we just tried to answer this: how do sun-like stars form within crystal core? That is the one question we try to answer. And then what is the role of chemistry in the evolution of dense crystal core? That also I told in connection with N2D plus. And how do complex organic molecules arise in the carrel of young stars? and hot Corinos, and we have detected the hidden hot Corinos that we have mentioned. And we detect prebiotic molecules that I described in the feature prospect. And also I have detected tentatively some molecules, but that I have not described here. And as a future prospect, I want to work on the protoplanetary disk, ice lines, and their connection with our chemical heritage. And this all. So this is the summary. I'm not going to read. I think I already have mentioned, and it's better to look because a lot of things. So better to look in the pictures to get a pictorial summary. So thanks for your attention. So let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, so particularly as I said, like on the disk thing, because protoplanetary disk is not possible with this telescope, but I'm trying from ACD perspective. So few proposals I done, but I did not successful. Still, I'm trying. That's why I want to use this telescope and also mount up telescope. I want to use. Yeah, and GMRT I'm already using.
So because you are status in PRL, so you already used the Mount Abu telescope.
No, I'm trying to do because the object I tried that may be not reachable. So I'm still thinking the other way because I'm trying some hardware like disk which is very bright and whether I can detect their signature from ACDs because I cannot resolve, but ACDs I can get. And whether from the ACDs I can get the planet signature that I am trying.
For ACD, you need obviously different bands.
Yeah, I can model the ACDs assuming this kind of like disk structure. Then whether that is presented there or not, that kind of.
But still, if you can model the disk structure, but you will need option-wise, you will need some point in this ACD so that you can fit your model.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is one thing I thought, and there are few other things like M dwarf and other things I thought that didn't work, but I think there are always synergies. But it is already I am doing this is very vast, so I am just slowly expanding. So like now I'm focusing on JWST and this aspect I telling you on the ACD perspective on Indian telescope.
Focusing JWST means have you already applied time on JWST?
No, there are data we already checked, already released. Because JW time, frankly speaking, is very difficult.
Of course.
Yeah, so and because it's not only the observation purpose, we already have to write like papers, the model and all these things. So that is need effort from many other people. So what we have thinking or already thought like there are observations present from the astrochemistry perspective. There are many molecular lines they have not detected, but we have laboratory data. So we are trying to identify those similar sources and which help our science goal.
So for this ALMA observations, so you apply through Taiwan time or
no? Yeah, it is
different, right?
It is not actually ALMA. If you check, you go to the how we get the time. So basically, there is a ranking. So there obviously there is a time country wise, but always when it is go to the like Chile side or the JAO Joint ALMA Observatory, they rank blindly because each proposal goes to you cannot even name your group or something. You have to blind review, and then on this blind review, everybody rank 1 to 10. So 10 of like proposal reviewing happens, so that way you get a rank. So once you get a rank, then you will consider time in the later stages. So if you are like a Taiwan, then they will consider Taiwan time and whatever. And if you are India, they also consider because few percentage like I think 5 or less percentage are there open, but otherwise there is no open time. So it is not like that whether I was in Taiwan I get the opportunity, but it's you have to come in the rank.
No, but then this I mean, time is already reserved for.
Yeah, that I reserved, but yeah, that what I told you that.
So I just wondering that if you write a proposal from here, is it the competition is similar? Same proposal, right? Line mode. But since the share is low, 5%, like
very difficult. No, that's I'm telling no, because once you have to come to rank, like you like yeah, I'm telling you. So if you are coming to rank, like now you are India, so they say you are in rank and then you are India, not getting time. But you have a get a rank, you are in Taiwan or you are in US or in a ESO, then you will get time. But so yeah,
because Korean also and
yeah,
they also have sharing time. So that's why I was.
Yeah, no, because you're right. Yeah, because I was in Taiwan, but then I got the time. But I think this review, yeah, will happen. Yeah, but it is like many cases. If I give you the count, frankly, more than 20 proposals are right. So I got time in one. So you think the competition, I told, I'm not telling you the number full, but at least my PI is like around 5 to 10, but the co-PI you think around 30. So we have only 5 to 4 times. So yeah, just give you an idea of how competitive it is. TLU, yeah. TLU actually got when he was, that data we are working. You got when he was in Kasi. He was a Kasi EAO fellow. So when now this year they are writing using Taiwan as a PI. So there is another loophole. You have to make other as a PY. Now I got your point, so I explained it. So if I answer simply, then it may be like some confusion. Yeah.
Thank you for the nice talk.
Thanks.
I'm not from this field, so I just have a basic question.
Yeah.
In one of the slides, you showed the ice rings of different molecules.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a specific reason for their order from?
Yes, certainly, because this is like their, you know, that absorption and desorption energies, their binding energies. That's the fact. That's why in the molecular cloud, like when you trace, why I saying the N2D plus is tracing, why not CO? Because CO when 10 to the 4 or 5, they already depleted. But N2D plus is still in the gas, they are not fully depleted. But there are regions like 10 to the power 7 or higher, their N2D plus is depleted. So you can consider that like binding energies and their other factors, desorption energies, all this affect this.
Kind of scenario is true for our sun also, like.
No, considering sun, that's why I saw the sun first. The sun, our, why not talking our origin? So I'm talking about sun and sun-like system. I'm not. That's why I mentioned, because their star formation is many. High mass star formation, low mass star formation. High mass do not form planet, this something like this. At least not detect. Maybe in future can be detected. So there is nothing impossible in our field. So high mass, high mass source I'm not working. So I'm just working on the low mass sources which can have this kind of planet or sun earth kind of system.
These cells decide the form, like if planets are formed in this ice ring.
No, what I am trying to mean, like say, like these molecules are different, region where they can be shown. Okay, so this molecule, the one particular molecule depleted. Beyond this, it is in the gas phase. Okay, so like a molecule, like start like a like say grain started going here, become planetesimal. So what matter it will get? You will get matter which is around it. Then it can move. Okay, then it can make the situation more complex. But think in a simple way that it is forming here, and some is forming here. So certainly their composition will be different. So I just want to point on that aspect.
Like Earth was formed in the H2O.
But terrestrial planet generally formed like in the water rare region, means when there was less water. So that was the puzzle, like whether Earth come from like forming other region and then traveled, like that is discussed drag, or already formed here, then there's a meteorite bursting and all these things bring the water here. So that kind of thing, people have many scenarios and trying in many perspectives. And one signature I can tell you, not told yet, because the water, the D by H ratio I mentioned, you take the water of Earth, the D by H ratio, and the water D by H ratio in the protostellar core, they have some similarity. So that's why we're thinking that the link is there.
One more question, like
Yeah.
you have mentioned that in some regions you are seeing a transition from atomic to molecular, means atoms to molecule form. So how do you verify that is the transition between?
No, I'm just trying to give a schematic, like as a textbook, people to help you to understand. That's I'm doing. I'm identifying not, but that observation I showed you, Alma, that identified that. But I am trying to give a schematic view, like how you can do this, because when the star is forming, it's very hot. Okay, so then every molecules become ionized. Okay, if you go to like temperature decreases, then they have get a chance to like recombine. Then like say atomic. That way I am describing.
Not actual observation, like.
No, actual observation I showed, like this is the phenomena where also you can calculate theoretically thing, like how much temperature is needed to break these molecules, how much distance it will be have each one region. We can do this calculation and also can check.
To verify.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The models you used for fit the SED.
ACD, as I told, I don't personally rigorously fit, but particular object when we try to do this. Okay, so there are models like, you know, that different kind of structure, source structure, like say when the star is forming in the very early stage, they have like low velocity, the outflow angle will be smaller. It is evolved, outflow angle will be larger. So there can be different parameter, like one outflow parameter, disk age, how much disk age is there, how much disk mass is there. So there are different parameters you can consider this, and consider a model considering like disk structure, envelope structure, all separately, and combine them. And then you pass relativity transfer to do how it will see in your case. Then you do fitting, you do MCMC, like which is the best scenario to explain your case. That way you can extract the property.
Thing like you mentioned prebiotic. I was like,
Prebiotic there, yeah. Prebiotic we say in the sense because it is related to biology of ours, like that's why, because as I say protein. So amino acid, they have is a constituent of protein, and the simplest amino acid is glycine. So that's why you are using the prebiotic thing. And astrobiology use this because nowadays like it's like everything need to be very catchy. So that's why they have coined this term really. But I don't know how much life in the interstellar space. But we always think about perspective of the detection, not from the perspective of the life.
So for using GMRT, you have selected some sample. So what are the constraints you use for that?
Yeah, because I use the same source that I stored in the ALMA. So I know their intensity and all these things. I calculated back using simple SCDs. How can we have? And there was one observation I found, only one, so which targeted similar kind of source in other molecular cloud. So I compared these two and then consider like whether this can be observable and how much time it can need. So I found that at least we need 9 hours for one channel or one step to observation. So that's how we calculated.
Any other question?
Yeah, it's a very good question and tricky. It's like cannot answer in 1 or 2 minutes, but I can give you a overview only. Like for example, like see the picture. Okay, so if you want to see the larger area, so it is called recoverable scale. So basically, you are recovering emission from the larger scale. You don't need the inner part, but you need to see the larger part. Okay, so there for each configuration there is always some specification of the recoverable scale. So if like say your scale is, this is like the 30 arc second, and your ACA recoverable is 32 arc second, so it is fitting with that. So you can say this observation is sufficient. Then you thought, okay, I need another object which is like say 100 AU, so maybe one arc second or something. So ACA cannot go that 5.5 arc seconds. So then you thought, okay, I will see larger structure in the ACA, but I also need to see inside. So let use 12-meter array. I don't bother about result out because already you are receiving from ACA when you are using the 12 meter. So that cases you can see the inner structure. So that way you have to trickily frame up like what you need. So if you need from all the scales, then you need various configuration together. It's not like this observation done, this observation done. So you have to select in such a way that multiple array can be selected. Like for our observation, we selected 3 arrays. So one is I don't call array. This is ACA. This is not called a array, but 2 array we have used. So one is TM1 array, that is give us resolution 0.35 arc second. Another is TM2 array, that is the give us resolution of 1.2 arc second. Because we want to recover large different scales because protostars are there. So that for that thing a 0.35 all the protostars detected. But 0.35 all the p stellar core, nothing, no detection because they are fully resolved out. So that's why you saw the image here. I have not clearly described this. I just showed you the resolution, but actually 0.8 we don't have any observations. This is a 0.8 arc second resolution, right? So here we don't have any observation. So what we do, we did the imaging calculation to manage this because we remove some lines like some arrays, that is called UV tapering. So that we use to get this kind of resolution, because if you go beyond this, this will be resolved out. But here you can see that the structure is appearing but not resolved. If you go more higher resolution, they'll resolved out. So you need to get some in between. So this answer your question. So I said more, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so these observations are like local.
Huh?
These most of these observations are local in nature, like near to sun and other.
Yes. Yeah.
So-
What I am not sun. Yeah. Sun. Yeah.
So what do you expect that composition of these molecules in different metallicity region or different?
Yeah, that very nice question. So there are other aspects so that people tried, but not I'm not my interest. Like LMC, SMC, they have found different metallicity and different chemical composition. You are right.
So it depends on that.
Obviously, because when you do modeling, no, so always think we have a starting composition here, always assume like initial abundance. So start point. So that you always consider. So if you go to different cloud, you have to change it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it will have give a different, it will not
yeah,
match.
like, but the process will remain same, like broader picture, like.
Up, the reaction mechanism you said.
Yeah.
Reaction mechanism is still same, but I don't know whether that can also change. But we can use the same network. So reaction mechanism is same, but different metallicity we have to assume, like different starting abundance of the elements, like oxygen, nitrogen, carbon. The metallicity means like that elemental abundance will be different. So that we have to change.
Or during LLC, even different molecular clouds you can do in our galaxy itself.
Different
In
molecular
different
cloud.
regions, because you have
Yeah, different molecular cloud. We don't found this roughly because we mostly found chemically same, like elemental levels we have not considered different. They're similar, but obviously, but chemical variety is there. But that's not on the that that not based on the metallicity. There may be other effect like Orion we have detected it, Perseus and the chameleon they have not detected it. So they have been the different formation scenarios, different densities or whatever factors are there, but not elemental abundance wise.
If not, let us thank Dipen again for the nice.
Thank you.